Jinwoo is back, more powerful than ever after achieving a new profession, necromancer. The young man looks tired, but a phone call from Gina wakes him up. Gina asks, "Do you remember today is my parent-teacher conference?" Jinwoo was really surprised. He showed up at school looking like a star, to the point that Gina had to ask, "What is this? Is he really your brother?" Jinwoo simply smiled innocently. It's not unusual for Jinwoo to dress casually, but this is an important meeting, and he needs to look more formal. He doesn't want his sister to feel embarrassed in front of her friends. As they walk through the school, female students are captivated by Jinwoo's handsome appearance. Seeing this, some students happily ask if he needs to be introduced to anyone, knowing he doesn't have a girlfriend. Jinwoo sighs and pinches his cheeks, scolding them for their gossip. The head teacher praises Gina as an excellent student, both in character and academics. She's an ideal role model for her peers, the teacher says. Hearing this, Jinwoo smiles brightly, proud of his sister. The teacher also mentions that Gina's current test scores are enough to get her into medical school, as she wishes. She encourages the family to avoid putting too much pressure on Gina so she can develop naturally. Later, the teacher asks if Jinwoo, as an older brother, would support Gina if she awakened hunter abilities. Jinwoo promises to never let her do that dangerous job like him. He also assures the teacher of Gina's safety. That afternoon, Jinwoo meets with Song-Wai. At first, she doesn't even recognize him due to his significant transformation. He shows her his photo with Gina. Song-Wai, a friend of Gina's, seems hesitant about going to school. She believes an E-class hunter like her won't earn enough money. Jinwoo explains that while some missions can be lucrative, it's not always guaranteed. He doesn't want her to face criticism for being an E-class hunter like him. Despite his initial hesitation, Jinwoo promises to support her if she decides to become a hunter, but she must listen to his advice. The scene shifts to the airport, where Jinwoo is welcoming a powerful S-class hunter back to Korea. The hunter complains about the country and says he doesn't plan to stay long. When the manager of the Hunter Association greets him and inquires about his stay, the hunter bluntly states that he dislikes the place and doesn't intend to stay long. He reveals that his return is due to two individuals connected to the death of Hong Dong. The hunter appears angry and warns, "Don't pretend anymore. If I go meet those two guys, the association won't be able to stop me. Dong Su, responsible for the events in the dungeon, will not face prosecution. If Jinchul wants to stop him, he'll have to try." The hunter declares he will simply fulfill his assigned duties. The scene changes to Old Man Gun and his team. They have just recovered the body of a monster that fell into the sea. It seems the monster is capable of limited flight, posing a potential threat to the country. That evening, Gun contacts Sang-min for help. He is happy to see her again, despite the unpleasant experience they shared last time. Jinwoo also apologizes for making an unreasonable request of her during a previous raid, acknowledging that the other brother, who participated in the raid, didn't mind it at all. Jinwoo had initially expressed interest in observing the training process, much to the surprise of others. It turned out his interest stemmed from a desire to help Song-Wai. This area was a hotbed for gate appearances, so a seasoned hunter, clad in full body armor, arrived to oversee the training. He introduced himself as Elastic Needle, an A-rank hunter, and it was immediately apparent that he specialized in defense. This training session was specifically for younger hunters, and as an A-rank member, Kim Chul was assigned as team leader. He couldn't help but feel a pang of annoyance at being paired with two E-class hunters. It felt like an unnecessary burden, a weight dragging him down. Jinwoo introduced the team lineup, 10 members in total, comprising 1 A-rank, 5 B-rank, and 2 C-rank hunters, including himself and Song. Deep down, Jinwoo hoped that witnessing the harsh realities of the dungeon would discourage Song from pursuing this dangerous path. However, to his surprise, the stronger members of the team only encountered C-rank danger gates, not nearly intimidating enough to deter her. An assistant reminded him to refrain from interfering and allow the new hunters to learn through experience. Entering the gate, the initial atmosphere was relaxed. The other girl, seemingly under the impression that she was being led by a handsome older brother, was quite excited. However, Jinwoo's sense of unease grew as the blue gate abruptly turned red, radiating a malevolent energy. He frantically tried to pull Song back, but it was too late. They were trapped. Panic ensued. Song, terrified, could only watch as the gate vanished, transporting them to another dimension, a desolate landscape of endless white snow. Kim Chun, a veteran hunter, quickly grasped the gravity of the situation, recognizing it as a red gate. Curiosity piqued, he inquired about its nature. Jinwoo explained that red gates were a unique and dangerous type of dungeon. Once inside, they were completely isolated from the outside world, with no means of escape. Their only chance of survival was to defeat the dungeon boss. Moreover, outside assistance would be impossible, and the monsters within would be significantly stronger than those encountered in normal gates. Before they could fully comprehend the situation, an arrow whizzed past, striking and killing one of the C-rank youths. Song, cowering beside Jinwoo, was unharmed. The B-rank girl witnessed the gruesome scene with wide eyes, and even the seasoned team leader was visibly shaken. The ice goblins remained at a distance, their killing intent not yet palpable. 2 months ago, Jinwoo himself would have been a prime target. However, the other hunters, including the team leader, displayed a chilling fear. The ice goblins issued a chilling warning, making a throat-slitting gesture. Song, horrified, asked her senior about the meaning of this gesture. The team leader explained that ice goblins were feared by even the most experienced hunters, their cruelty earning them the moniker White Demons. These creatures were particularly dangerous in cold regions. Kim Chun, recognizing the severity of their situation, stabilized the formation. He emphasized that this was a high-difficulty B-rank gate and survival depended on absolute obedience to a strong leader. However, he couldn't guarantee the safety of everyone, especially the lower-ranked hunters. They faced a grim reality: either succumb to the freezing cold or be hunted down by the merciless ice goblins. Kim Chun assured them that those who followed his lead would have the best chance of survival. The B-class hunters, understanding the gravity of the situation, readily agreed to his command. Jinwoo and Song were also separated from the main group. Kim Chun offered words of comfort, emphasizing that if their team succeeded, everyone would be able to return. At this point, the B-rank girl, impressed by Jinwoo's quick reflexes in deflecting the arrow, requested to join his team. The captain, believing she felt pity for the weaker hunters, readily agreed. The girl approached Jinwoo, revealing that Kim Chun hadn't even noticed the arrow's trajectory. Jinwoo had caught it with his bare hands, a testament to his exceptional strength. The girl's presence would undoubtedly provide some comfort to Gina. After dividing the teams, the higher-ranked hunters opted to explore the main road. Jinwoo, however, chose to venture into the treacherous forest. He was wished luck and urged to stay safe. The Kim Chun's team, following the main road, soon discovered scratches on the tree trunks, a chilling sign that they were entering ice bear territory. Some hunters voiced their concerns, believing that Jinwoo, an E-class hunter, had led his team into a certain death trap. Kim Chun, initially dismissive of Jinwoo's decision, began to feel a pang of unease. Suddenly, the ice bears emerged from the shadows, forcing the team into a defensive position. Kim Chun, overwhelmed by the sheer size of the creatures, was paralyzed with fear. He could only pray for their survival. Kim Chul, however, remained calm. He employed a skill to provoke the bear, forcing it to attack first. The A-rank hunters shield blocked the initial assault, but it was a close call. The other girl, witnessing Jinwoo's courage and determination, "I don't understand why he brought everyone here. There were hundreds of scratch marks from ice bears all around. If we continued, we would definitely encounter them. They would protest and cry. This was bear territory. We should have stayed near the entrance. Being wary of them here would be much better than being hunted by intelligent ice goblins." Hearing that, Hin was surprised because it turned out he had calculated everything. The current problem wasn't wild animals, but the weather. Jinwoo started to feel cold, so he opened his status board and summoned warm clothes for everyone. The three of us saw this scene and couldn't understand what was going on because even high-ranked hunters could only bring a few items into the dungeon using space magic. But he witnessed this incredible feat. One of the younger hunters asked, "What kind of person are you?" Jinwoo acted cool, walked over, patted the young man's head, and said, "I dragged you into this, so I'll take responsibility for protecting you." The guard, in return, was not allowed to ask anything and only listened to his decisions, but he pretended to obey. Jinwoo also reminded the other two not to ask or demand anything from him. At this time, the bears had already smelled the intruders. While the other three were scared to death, Jinwoo remained calm. He activated his skills, Overcoming Adversity and Dog Killer, to increase his stats. At this moment, Byun-ho was extremely worried. Even though he was an S-rank hunter, he couldn't do anything. He thought that at this moment, the only way was to bet on Kim Chun. Sang-min said that there were people among them who weren't in their guild. Jin asked what rank he was. He said he was E-rank, but most likely he was a second awakener. This news was not accurate, but the fact that he was very strong was completely true. While nervous, Jin Chun brought Dong Su. The situation worsened when they saw the big boss of the White Tigers. This guy also teased Byun-ho with a few sentences. Byun-ho didn't like the person in front of him and asked, "Why are you in my area?" Hearing that, Dong Su asked on the contrary, "Why can Jinwoo come but I can't? He's the S-rank hunter who has a lot of information, but the dark side is coming to find him." He immediately thought of the Red Gate and feared that Jinwoo might have died in there. Jin Chun knew that the other brother inside looked surprised and thought that his fate was quite lucky because the Red Gate did not have to encounter the wilderness. Inside, the white bears were overwhelmed by the power of Jinwoo's reincarnation. Witnessing this scene, the other three couldn't understand why an E-rank hunter could be so powerful with his bare hands. Hunting bears helped the young man level up, and the Red Gate would indeed give more experience points later. Everyone sat down to light a fire and grill bear meat to ease their hunger. Remembering Jinwoo, they realized he was a strange but different kind of hunter. Seeing the senior hunter struggle, he had chosen to confront the most challenging situation head-on. He went to the lair of the bears to challenge the young man who was willing to return the Dark Army. This would be the first mission for them. Both sides rushed into a bloody battle. The bears had the home field advantage and extraordinary strength. However, Jinwoo's army possessed the skills to fight. Each of Jinwoo's undead soldiers fought fiercely, and with the support of his magicians, things were going smoothly. However, recovering the ghost soldiers after each battle consumed a significant amount of mana. The situation took a drastic turn when the leader bear entered the fray. Witnessing his army being decimated, the enraged bear unleashed a devastating roar, sweeping aside everything in its path. Jinwoo's magic attacks proved ineffective against this powerful area of effect skill, draining his mana reserves to 0. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Jinwoo commanded Igris, his most powerful undead general, to engage the bear. Igris advanced slowly, exuding an aura of raw power that intimidated the colossal beast. The bear charged, but Igris effortlessly dodged the attack, countering with a swift strike that severed one of the bear's arms. Jinwoo watched in awe. Igris, indeed, was a formidable warrior. 2 hours, he muttered to himself. Even his most powerful creation was still a considerable distance from reaching his own level of strength. He praised Igris for his impressive performance and then focused his attention back on the battlefield. Meanwhile, back at the Hunters Association, Kim Chun was facing a desperate situation. His team was being relentlessly hunted by the Ice Goblin army, and he was powerless to stop them. Fear consumed him as he realized he might not survive this ordeal. He was utterly terrified and, in a moment of panic, turned and fled, leaving his team to fend for themselves. This cowardly act, however, did not escape the notice of the Demon King observing from the shadows. The bear that Jinwoo had slain was quite large, making the young man satisfied. At least this trip wasn't a complete failure. He estimated that roughly 3 hours had passed since the gate turned red, indicating that a significant amount of time had elapsed within the dungeon. The environment within the Red Gate was harsh. Hong Dong-su, initially assuming Jinwoo had perished, was about to depart when he realized the true reason for his presence. He wasn't from the White Tiger Association, and this revelation caused a stir. Dong-su, a master of subtle intimidation, sensed something off about the other man. He approached him closely, his aura radiating a palpable threat. The other man, sensing the danger, tried to deflect Dong-su's attention, claiming he had merely brought his friends to observe the C-class gate. Dong-su, however, saw through the deception. He grabbed the man by the neck, his grip firm. "You sense something?" Dong-su growled. The man, terrified, confessed that he had been drawn to the Red Gate by a premonition. Byun-ho, witnessing the confrontation, intervened, ordering Dong Su to release the man. "Take your dog hands off him," he warned, his voice laced with authority. Dong Su, unfazed, retorted, "Hiding in this tiny country and daring to order me around?" The tension escalated rapidly as both men exuded powerful auras, alarming Jin Chul. He feared this confrontation could escalate into a full-blown conflict, potentially disrupting the delicate balance of power. This incident also served as a convenient excuse for Dong Su to collide with Yun Ho. Kim Chun had recently returned from the dungeon, looking haggard and disheveled. He had been shivering from the cold and struggling to survive on meager rations. He wondered how long he could endure the harsh conditions. Kim Chun noticed the bodies of the bears slain by Jin Woo, a chilling reminder of the young hunter's strength. He couldn't believe he had encountered the ice bears. It dawned on him that Jin Woo, with his overwhelming power, had likely eradicated them all. The thought that an E-rank hunter had single-handedly decimated a horde of ice bears was almost unbearable. He couldn't help but feel a pang of humiliation. Meanwhile, Dong Su, after receiving a message from an unknown source, abruptly left the scene. Sang Min, who understood Jinwoo's abilities better than anyone, was certain he would find a way to survive. Inside the dungeon, a group of hunters, including the ones who had accompanied Jinwoo, were enjoying a feast, unaware of the hardships faced by others. They had found a hidden cache of supplies, including food and warm clothing. Kim Chun, witnessing their carefree demeanor, felt a surge of anger. He had risked his life, facing unimaginable hardships, while these individuals feasted in comfort. He couldn't accept that he, the experienced hunter, had led his team to near death, while others, seemingly weaker, had survived. He began to suspect that they had deliberately withheld information about their resources. Kim Chun suspected from the beginning that Jinwoo had a plan. He believed Jinwoo had intentionally chosen to stay in this area. Kim Chun imagined Jinwoo demanding to know who was the mastermind behind the attacks, threatening to behead everyone if they didn't comply. However, things did not go as expected. Jinwoo returned, but instead of seeking information, he grabbed Kim Chun, silencing him to prevent further information from being revealed. He scolded Kim Chun, calling him stupid for bringing dangerous guests into the area. Jin Woo, sensing the presence of hidden observers, ordered the tribe to dissolve their invisibility. Suddenly, a whole army of ice elves appeared, their eyes glowing menacingly. Most noteworthy was the presence of an insect among the elves. Upon closer inspection, it was discovered that a pearl was embedded within its carapace. The two sides exchanged a few words, a sight that surprised the Demon King. This was the first time he had encountered another entity that could understand his language. Hearing this, Jinwoo was a bit surprised. He was asked by the Ice Elf leader if he could speak the language of monsters. He realized that this was due to the unique effects of the Red Gate, which seemed to amplify certain abilities. The Ice Elf leader, intrigued, began to speak, recounting how his scouts had reported the presence of an exceptionally strong human within their territory. He explained that he had wished to engage this formidable opponent in combat. However, before the leader could finish his sentence, Jinwoo intervened. The Ice Elf leader, caught off guard, was swiftly dispatched. The Demon King, observing this, was impressed. He had never encountered a human who could so easily dispatch one of his most powerful warriors. The Demon King, intrigued, decided to engage Jinwoo in conversation. He asked, "You are not human, are you?" Jinwoo, however, remained silent, his gaze unwavering. He sensed that the Demon King was trying to gauge his true nature. The Demon King continued, "My scouts hear voices, whispers urging them to kill humans. But when I stand before you, I hear nothing. This proves that you are different." Jinwoo remained silent, his expression unreadable. He understood that the Ice Elves were being manipulated by an unseen force, likely a system designed to pit humans and monsters against each other. The Demon King, sensing Jinwoo's reluctance to engage in idle conversation, proposed a deal. "Why do you cause trouble for humans for no reason? This senseless conflict serves no purpose." Jinwoo, however, did not rush to agree. He asked, "What is it that you truly desire? Why do you seek to disrupt the natural order?" The Demon King, surprised by Jinwoo's insightful question, hesitated. He had never considered the underlying reasons for his actions. Jinwoo, sensing the Demon King's uncertainty, subtly signaled his army to prepare for battle. The remaining Ice Elves, sensing the shift in the balance of power, began to feel uneasy. Jinwoo, with a chilling smile, declared, "Let us see which side prevails." The battle commenced, a chaotic and brutal clash between Jinwoo's army and the remaining Ice Elves. The initial advantage lay with Jinwoo, But the ice elves fought with desperate ferocity. Some of the remaining humans, witnessing the carnage, attempted to flee, but ice elves swiftly dispatched them with a single arrow. But suddenly Jinwoo blocked it and killed them. The young man felt that underestimating his opponent was a mistake. Although immortal, the Dark Army had suffered significant losses. Considering the current situation, he feared they wouldn't be able to hold out for long, especially against a boss much stronger than him. Even if he joined forces with Aegis, victory was far from guaranteed. "We need stronger resources," he declared. Demon King, introducing himself as Baruka, charged into the fray. He encountered some difficulty with the enemy's weapon retrieval skill, but in close-quarters combat, he proved to be a formidable opponent. However, he knew he couldn't win this fight alone. Just as he realized this, he was struck by a powerful fireball from the mage team. The explosion knocked him back. Kim Chun, awakened by the commotion, was furious at being subjected to such a violent attack. He rushed into the fray to seek revenge. Baruka found this scene quite amusing but failed to realize that this was part of Jinwoo's plan. He had called for reinforcements to arrive, intending to overwhelm the enemy. Baruka met a new warrior, a powerful A-rank hunter named Iron. Iron, eager to prove himself, immediately provoked the enemy, drawing their attention. The enemy, an assassin, was no match for Iron's brute strength. Song Yi, observing the battle from afar, asked her sister if all hunter battles were this chaotic. Her sister replied, "If I had seen this before, I probably wouldn't have dared to become a hunter." Baruka, seeing the carnage, became bored and instructed Jinwoo and Aegis to join the fray. They complied, their combined assault overwhelming the enemy. Baruka had underestimated his opponent. Jinwoo, who had been biding his time, suddenly unleashed a flurry of attacks, catching Baruka off guard. He managed to dodge the vital blow, but acknowledged his opponent's strength. He noticed that his soldiers were struggling. To his surprise, Jinwoo discarded his weapon, a move that initially seemed foolish. However, it was part of Jinwoo's strategy to create an opening. With Jinwoo's weapon out of the way, Jinwoo used his ability to teleport and swiftly closed the distance. The mage team capitalized on this opportunity, unleashing a devastating area of effect spell that cornered the enemy. Baruka, realizing the tide had turned, shouted, "The battle is over." Iron, following Jinwoo's orders, delivered the finishing blow to the enemy leader. Despite the intensity of the battle, Iron seemed more concerned with celebrating his victory. Jinwoo, however, remained calm. He returned to his teammates, announcing that the battle was over and that the gate would automatically open soon. The other three hunters, who had been anxiously awaiting their rescue, were overjoyed. Outside the gate, Byunho and the others were still waiting. They assumed the delay was due to logistical issues, unaware of the fierce battle that had just concluded within the dungeon. Jinwoo and Song Wai were the last to emerge from the dungeon, much to Sang Min's relief. The gate then closed, leaving President Byunho visibly shocked. When he inquired about the whereabouts of the other hunters, Hin could only bow his head, unable to explain what had happened inside. Seeing that only the low-ranking hunters had returned, Jinwoo urged Song Yi to go home. However, the guild leader on Bok's side, the White Tiger, stopped them. "I'm tired," he declared, pushing Byunho's hand away. "If you need to know anything, ask the other two." Byunho, witnessing this arrogant display, was infuriated. This young man, despite his power, dared to look down on him. Byunho switched to a fighting stance, threatening Jinwoo. Jinwoo, witnessing this, turned and glared at the White Tiger. "I saved 2 lives, he retorted. "If you have any complaints, you should be thanking me." Byunho, initially intimidated by the White Tiger's arrogance, realized that Jinwoo was right. He apologized to Jinwoo and bowed his head in submission. When Jinwoo and Song Wai finally emerged, Song Wai, still a bit shy, simply called him by his name, hoping to avoid further questioning. Jinwoo, witnessing the awkward exchange, felt a sense of helplessness. He had experienced horrifying scenes within the dungeon, yet these higher-ups were more concerned with social etiquette. On the way back, Jinwoo took out the reward for the battle, which included a rare weapon previously coveted by Baruka, a renowned weaponsmith. Jinwoo, upon seeing the Baruka's body, was initially overjoyed. However, he soon realized that the Baruka was cursed. He had attempted to arise Baruka 3 times, but each attempt had failed. No wonder he was so upset earlier. The next day, Jinho came to visit and was surprised to see his brother with a new outfit. He also noticed Song Wai accompanying him, which caused him some confusion. Looking at their close interaction, Jinho suspected that something romantic might be brewing between them. He reminded Jinwoo that she was still a minor, but Jinwoo simply ignored him,